The 2000s were a crowded decade on the charts, and a number of stars who peaked during that time are now gone. From plane crashes to suspected overdoses, here's what happened to them. As an act that aggressively embraced the darkest and most twisted aspects of the human psyche, Slipknot was formed by Joey Jordison in Iowa.
I'm Joey from Slipknot. I'm number one, and I play the drums.
Jordison gave the group its name and provided its signature rapid-fire and thunderous drumming, all while wearing ghastly masks and stage costumes. In 2013, Slipknot announced that Jordison was no longer part of the band, with The Guardian stating that he left for personal reasons. The next year, Jordison said that he'd actually been abruptly fired from the band as he could no longer drum the way he liked. Sadly, he'd lost motor functions after developing the disease transverse myelitis. A rare form of multiple sclerosis, Jordison couldn't play music for a time, nor could he walk, until he enrolled in an aggressive physical therapy program. In July 2021, Jordison died in his sleep from complications of his condition. He was 46. Smooth, low-key, and radio-friendly grown-up pop rock bands like Train began to find an audience in the late 1990s and 2000s. Bassist Charlie Colin was part of the band from its San Francisco beginnings, and he added jazzy low notes to all of its initial hits. After helping Train become one of the biggest soft rock bands of all time, Colin left the group in 2003 because of substance use issues.
I took care of that, and I never done a drug since.
He later played bass for other significant 2000s bands like Puddle of Mudd and Slipknot. He also became the musical director for the Newport Beach Film Festival. Colin decamped to Brussels, Belgium to teach at a music conservatory, and in 2024 he house sat for a friend there. When the occupant returned to the house, they found the drummer dead in the shower, having apparently fallen and suffered a fatal injury in the process. He was 58 years old. An architect of hip-hop and pop music of the new millennium era, Static Major often worked behind the scenes as a producer and songwriter. He helped write Rock the Boat, More Than a Woman, and Try Again for Aaliyah, On the Hotline for Pretty Ricky, and Lollipop for Lil Wayne. The latter hit #1 in 2008 and won Static Major a Grammy Award for Best Rap Song. In February 2008, the musician sought medical treatment at Baptist Hospital East in Louisville, Kentucky. Doctors explained that a suite of symptoms was caused by myasthenia gravis, a rare autoimmune disease characterized by antibodies breaking down nerve and muscle communication pathways, leading to the destruction of skeletal and voluntary muscles. During immediate treatments, a surgeon placed a catheter into the rapper's neck, and he immediately reported severe internal pain. An X-ray indicated an improperly placed line, and when a nurse removed the catheter, the musician lost consciousness. Doctors attempted to save him but were unsuccessful. Static Major died at the age of 33. Equal parts emo, goth, alternative, and progressive rock, My Chemical Romance was one of the most adored and important rock bands of the 2000s. At the height of its popularity in 2004 with the triple platinum 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge, Bob Bryar stepped in on the drums, and his work can be heard all over big My Chemical Romance records like The Black Parade and Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys. Bryar left the group in 2010 and music entirely in 2014 to focus on charity and real estate work. Bryar's last contact with friends or family came on November 4, 2024. His body was discovered in his home in Bedford County, Tennessee, more than 3 weeks later by a member of a local animal control office. The remains were discovered near 3 tanks of nitrous oxide, or laughing gas, with ingestion machinery attached. The coroner couldn't say for sure if an overdose of nitrous oxide played a role in the musician's death, because the results of the autopsy itself were inconclusive. His body had deteriorated to a point where precise testing was impossible. The Underground Kings, more commonly known as UGK, helped make Southern gangsta rap a famous and viable subgenre in the 1990s. Consisting of rappers Pimp C and Bun B, the duo's 2001 album Dirty Money generated a string of hits. But UGK's rise was interrupted by Pimp C going to prison for 3 years. The pair is probably best known for its 2007 hip-hop classic International Players Anthem I Choose You, which featured Outkast and was named by Rolling Stone as one of the 100 greatest songs ever recorded. One of Pimp C's best-known works was Sippin' on Some Syrup, a celebration of getting intoxicated on drug cocktails like lean, which contains prescription cough syrup made from the anti-allergy substance promethazine and codeine, an opioid painkiller. After he missed his checkout time at the Mondrian Hotel in West Hollywood one afternoon in December 2007, staff discovered the rapper dead in his bed. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office reported in 2008 that Pimp C had died from the effects of consuming too much promethazine and codeine. He was 33 years old. As a vocally gifted teenager in the 1990s, Aaliyah showed off her impressive pipes and hip-hop flair. In the 2000s, she became a superstar. Try Again, a single from the soundtrack of Aaliyah's movie Romeo Must Die, went to #1 on the pop chart. By the end of 2001, she'd appeared at the top of the pop and R&B charts many more times, with the likes of Rock the Boat, More Than a Woman, and We Need a Resolution. In August 2001, Aaliyah and a video production crew headed to Abaco, an island in the Bahamas, to shoot a clip for Rock the Boat. The pilot assigned to Aaliyah's flight hadn't received the necessary safety certification to fly the twin-engine Cessna 402B used. Bogged down with heavy gear and many passengers, it crashed just after clearing the runway on Abaco. Aaliyah, 22 years old, was one of 9 people who died in the accident. Angie Stone had been kicking around in the fringes of the music industry for more than 20 years before she enjoyed a commercial and critical breakthrough in the 2000s. In the 1970s, she joined a funk rap trio called The Sequence, which scored a few minor hits on the R&B charts in the early 1980s. After embracing the neo-soul movement, Stone routinely ran up the R&B charts in the 2000s with smashes like No More Rain in This Cloud, Brother, and Wish I Didn't Miss You, and earned 3 Grammy Award nominations in the process. Following a Mardi Gras show in Mobile, Alabama on February 28, 2025, Stone's entourage was in a tragic accident. Stone and 9 others in her party loaded into a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van to return the singer to Atlanta. In the early morning hours of March 1st, the driver of the van lost control on Interstate 65. The van crashed and turned over onto its side, and as it languished on the road, the driver of a semi-truck didn't see it and struck the van. The only fatality in the accident was Stone, who was pronounced dead at the scene. She was 63. Australian-born Michael Lee arrived in the U.S. in the 1990s to attend college and play tennis, only to switch to music. His Atlanta cover band Film earned some attention from record labels, but only for Lee, who performed using the stage name of Michael Johns as a potential solo act and for his songwriting. His album went unreleased when Maverick Records shuttered, leaving Johns free to audition for American Idol in 2008. He finished 8th in the talent show's 7th season, and his album Hold Back My Heart performed moderately well. On August 1, 2014, Johns died at the age of 35.
It's tragic and shocking news.
Initially, the cause was reported as a blood clot that developed as he recovered from a sprained ankle and traveled into one of the singer's vital organs. But then, California's Orange County Coroner's Office in California conducted an autopsy and revealed that there wasn't a blood clot involved at all. Johns suffered from both a dangerously enlarged heart and a fatty liver, which can sometimes, but not always, be the result of excessive drinking over the course of many years. Johns had ingested a lot of alcohol in the hours before he died, and a close friend blamed his death on that binge. Regardless, neither organ issue had been diagnosed while the musician was still alive. In 1996, a group of Nashville musicians united to create Saliva, a hard-charging, loud, and heavy nu metal band. Leading the charge was guitarist Wayne Swinny, who remained the only original member of the band through its rise and fall, particularly during its numerous successes in the 2000s. Saliva soundtracked an era for rock radio with hits like Your Disease, Click Click Boom, Always, Rest in Pieces, and Survival of the Sickest. On March 20, 2023, Swinny performed with Saliva at its scheduled tour stop in Nashville. In the hours after the gig, Swinny sustained a medical episode and was hospitalized. It was diagnosed as a spontaneous brain hemorrhage, and he was held in a local hospital's intensive care unit while the rest of Saliva moved on to the next show with a substitute guitarist. Hours after announcing on its social media channels that Swinny wouldn't be with the band for that night's show, Saliva shared the news that Swinny had died in the hospital. The guitarist was 59 years old. Deftones emerged from Sacramento in the mid-1990s, blending screaming, crooning, downtuning, and anthemic riffs. By the time its acclaimed and quickly selling third full-length album White Pony hit stores in the summer of 2000, Deftones' sound relied heavily on a rumbling and menacing low end, provided by bassist Cheng. After playing on 5 albums by the band over the course of 20 years, Cheng was replaced in Deftones after a tragic accident. In November 2008, he was riding in a car that was involved in a crash in Santa Clara, California. The musician wasn't wearing a seatbelt and he was thrown from the vehicle. Immediately sent into a coma, paralyzed, and surviving with the aid of machinery, Cheng showed signs of recovery 2 years later, such as the ability to make small movements with his hands and legs. In 2012, he was discharged for in-home recovery. The progress didn't last. In 2013, Cheng succumbed to his injuries and died at age 42. Stained formed in 1995 with Jon Wysocki on the drums, but it would take a few years for the band to break through. Its sensitive, sludgy, and feedback-drenched power ballads were all over the radio in the first half of the 2000s, particularly the #1 rock hits So Far Away, It's Been a While, and Right Here. Wysocki was also a member of Lydia's Castle, and on May 18th, bandmate Shauna Lynn Hornbeck announced on Facebook that the drummer had checked into an intensive care unit for a vaguely reported internal health issue. Hornbeck wrote at the time, "He's been having issues with his liver that requires him to be under the attention of medical professionals. While he has been struggling, there are signs that he is recovering slowly." Later that day, Lydia's Castle announced that the drummer had died. Wysocki was 53 years old. The exact nature of his liver issues was never publicly disclosed, nor the direct cause of death.